This is Thriving Chiropractors, where chiropractors are supporting chiropractors and talking to chiropractors that are thriving beyond the four walls of their practice. This is Dr. Austin Cohen, your host of Thriving Chiros. I'm here with Dr. JaGerran, who I've known for a pretty long time now, when he was a student at Life University. And now we get to hear him today with us on the Thriving Chiros podcast, where we help you not just go from surviving to thriving. And we do that with a lot of business and success principles while interviewing some very successful chiropractors. And thank you so much for being here, Dr. JaGerran. This is great to see you again, man.
It means the world. Thank you so much, Dr. Cohen. I feel humbled and honored just by the word successful and thriving in the same sentence right now. Super grateful, but it is true.
Well, it's great to have you here. And we like to, at Thriving Chiros, man, we like to go straight into it, all right?
Yes.
There's no fluff here. We like to give chiropractors just business principles and things that other successful chiropractors have done. So,
I love it.
If you look back on, I know you graduated in 2019.
Yep.
And you look back at 2019 over the last 5 years.
Yep.
What would you say have been some of the biggest and most pivotal moments or decisions you've made that have helped with your success to date?
I'm going to say reading. So a lot of times in school, we're used to being taught everything, going to class. They tell you what, where to sit and da-da-da-da, and this is what you have to learn throughout the program. But then I had to recognize that there's things that I needed to learn outside of the program, specifically business. Even though it's taught in the program, I recognized I needed to learn more. And so I was actually, and here's another thing, Dr. Gilles Lamarche, somehow his name always pops up, right? But Dr. Gilles Lamarche, one of my mentors, he always taught me the practice of showing up. Just show up in excellence, but 80% of life is just showing up. So I remember one time at a fall CE, I was serving as a student ambassador, just doing our normal routine of things, going throughout the hallways, checking things out. And this guy sticks a book in my chest going down the hallway. I'm like, what is this about? And it was a book called The Ultimate Chiro Success Guide by Dr. Tori Robeson. And so I get this book and I'm like, cool, great. He said, if you ever need anything, just give me a call. And he keeps walking. And I take the book and I go about my business. I'm starting to finish out the program. So I'm in the midst of thinking about business, taking some business classes in school, but also working out quite a bit at Windy Hill as I'm trying to get off some steam of taking boards at the same time, right? And Windy Hill Athletic Club. And I remember just sitting down by the pool and every now and then just taking a couple chapters in and reading. And reading that book showed me how much I did not know about the business of chiropractic, yet I was on the back end of graduating, if you were, getting ready to step into what I wanted to do my whole life.
Are there any principles in that book where you could share with us? You're like, you know what, here's one of my biggest takeaways from that book, a principle maybe you didn't know, or, it was a while ago, but anything you can think of?
That's a great question. I'm just going to say putting it into practice. You have to put it practically into practice. The things that you were taught in school, not only do you have to visualize it, not only do you have to know what you want to do, but you actually have to make it make sense. And it actually has to bring a dollar amount into your account at some point in time, right? And so I'm going to just go straight at it then. You said no cut, no fluff, anything like that?
No, man, straight at it.
Treatment time.
Yeah. Treatment
time started to become a thing that I really struggled with. I wanted to use, I'm first generational chiropractor, so it's not like I was, someone taught me how to become a chiropractor. I had to learn in the life of being at life, right? So I'm in every club, everything, just trying to learn what can I grab, what can I do, how can I be the best? And long story short, you get out and you do your internship, if you will, right? You're doing all the different things, you're working on people getting better, but you take your time. Yeah. Then I became an associate, which was extremely helpful, which was great. That was a great season of life. At the same time, I knew I always wanted to be a business owner. And so I'm still taking my time with patients. They're getting better, but I'm taking plenty of time. And one thing that I had to recognize in this book and also in my life was there's a certain amount of time that it takes to deliver the chiropractic adjustment. Everything else probably can be done by someone else. But the one thing that you can do is the chiropractic adjustment. No one on earth except a chiropractor can deliver a specific scientific chiropractic adjustment. And so I had to really start to honor my craft. Honor my craft. So that was I think a lot of chiropractors too, when they graduate, they just have limiting beliefs, right? And they assume that time equals value exchange. Yes.
So if I spend 20 minutes with this person, it's worth $100.
Yes, sir.
Rather than 3 minutes, they can't justify spending 3 minutes with some being worth $100 a visit. And it's interesting, I actually was at my, and I had to overcome that too, by the way, as well, so I appreciate you sharing that. But I remember I was getting my hair cut about 6 months ago, and the lady who cuts my hair took an hour with me. She does a great job. Took an hour with me. She charges $100 for my haircut. And she goes, she was like, how was the haircut? I was like, it was great. I go, but you know what? That was a long time for me to be sitting here to get my haircut. I go, if you could get that done in 20 minutes, or even a little bit more than that, I'll actually pay you more money. And she was like, what? She's like, I already charge a lot of money, and I figured, you want to talk and sit here. I'm like, no, I actually don't. I want to get in, I want to get out, and the more efficient you can be with this, because you already provide value because you're so good at your craft.
Yes, sir. You
do it. So, and it's interesting, right? I think as chiropractors, if you're good at adjusting and you offer something that nobody else can offer, just be the best at it and don't waste your patient's time with it.
And recognize that person, to some extent, you being so on mission and being so focused and so in alignment, right? Even with your craft, they start to recognize I am functioning better and feeling better, and I'm doing better with this specific adjustment. And there's nothing else that's causing me to get better as well. So that's extremely helpful. Just to give a little point here, some of you that are probably watching or hearing, right now, Dr. G has cut off his hair. So whenever you say cut the hair, I'm like, oh man, I just trimmed off 21 years of locks, if you will. But one thing that I thought about in my process was, man, I want life more simple. I want it simple. I want to spend time with my son. He kept asking me, hey, can we get to the pool? And I'm like, no, Judah, and I'm thinking in my head, I have to go and get a stylist right after the pool session because I'm a professional. I got to look good on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And something hit me and said, Paul, stop. If this is no longer serving you and if family is a value, just cut off the hair. It was a great 21 years. Get in the pool, go swimming, go have fun. He will only be 3 a certain amount of time. And so values, understanding what your values are, and then how does that impact the people around you, and saying yes to certain things and no to others. And the patients that come into our clinic now, by the way, which is awesome, they understand the simplicity of the chiropractic adjustment, yet the infinite impact on the body, and it does not take forever. So treatment time mastery is.
I love, so hearing you talk about this, by the way, almost stimulates emotions in me, man. I've been doing this for 15 years now, and you've been doing it for 5. And to see you already get that concept, to me that really almost brings tears to my eyes to hear you say that, just because of the fact of as you get older and practice, the things that mattered when you first started don't really matter anymore. And as you've started to learn is family means everything in the world. Relationships are the most important thing. Experiences. These are the things that really matter the most. And doing experiences with the people that matter the most, man. And so to hear you say this is just, that's powerful. And I really hope that the quicker somebody can get that concept, I really think your life will be so much different. And it's how do you balance that though? I mean, you got kids, you got to practice. What are some tools or tricks you could share with everybody that's helped you create a good balanced life?
Coach. Just, like you said, no fluff, right?
Yeah. Get
straight to it, coach. I played football, right? And I didn't make it to the NFL. I always wanted to. I always felt like I could. But I remember a recruiter just told me straight up, you're too short to play linebacker for Miami. And I always wanted to play for the University of Miami as a linebacker. And that's all good and everything, because when I was in high school, I started to recognize, hey, there is a prototype for this specific position. I may have skill sets, but I also have a brain, and I can use that in a different way. My mom brought me to see a chiropractor. I wanted to keep those brain cells. Long story short, I said, you know what? In high school, I'm going to be the best chiropractor I can be because I see the impact it will make. So I had that kind of mind shift, if you will, in that moment. But as it pertains to really getting back to that question, give it to me one more time.
Balancing life, you said coaches, right? It really helps you balance it out.
Having a coach. So I recognize as an athlete, as a student athlete, having a coach, you got teachers, and the teacher's going to teach you lessons, and you're going to sit down and you're going to hear it, and you have to go out and put it into practice at some point in time. Coaches, they're going to put you through the gauntlet, and they're going to prepare you for an opponent. And I had to recognize when I step out of Life University, when I step out of this beautiful bubble, there's an opponent, right? Call it what it is. There's an opponent out there. And I have to make sure that I am strategic, that I'm focused, that I've trained, right? These are things that I did as a football player. Why would I not do that in my profession? And as a football player, you got eyes in the sky and you got eyes on the sideline. You got coaches telling you what to do, helping you to run the play. I'm just on the field to produce, help my team get to that end zone. And so I just started using my athletic background to say, man, if you're going to do this well as a first generation of chiropractor, bro, do not you need a coach.
Have you ever had a coach and maybe you felt like you surpassed that coach for the level of like your ability and you've actually had to hire a new coach to get you to the next level? Or have you ever thought about that before?
Not yet. I'm still, I'm being humble and honest about it, but I feel like there's so much to learn. God, family, chiropractic, right? These are some values that I have, and really aligning myself with the Lord, aligning myself, understanding who my family is and what relationships are really important to me, having vision for the people that I have relationships with. And then also in chiropractic, same thing for the practice, same thing for the vision of it. I was given that vision when I was 15. Wow. It took a long time to see things come to fruition. I feel like I'm just now stepping into my vision, like to some extent, right? And it's even better than what I thought it would be, but there's more. I can tell, with 31, right? There's more. And so all that to say, having a coach helps me tremendously. It honors my time. Luckily, I chose a coach. I chose Dr. Tory Robeson. I chose him as my coach. And he has...
The guy who handed you the book.
The guy who handed me the book, right? Because here's what I recognize. If you wrote a book, then you can think. If you can think, and in this case, he was an architect, a chiropractor, and he was also in the Air Force. So you're dealing with a mind that's like very strategic, operational, right? I'm used to coaching, so I can receive coaching. I can receive, hey, get your butt down, don't do it like that, stick your chin up, like, let's get better, right? And then to organize the brain and put it into writing, and then also create video modules and help a person process, that was you're hitting every area of my learning process. So for me, that made sense to say, hey, if you've thought about me way before and others in this way before I even got to this point, you can be my coach all day long. And that's been a wise decision. And it doesn't take all day.
That's awesome.
I 15 minutes a week.
I look at like my friend relationships over the last 15 years and how much they've evolved over time. And I always think of like some of the guys maybe I was associating with and hanging out with early on, all they did is work. And they didn't value like family. And that was almost to them like a distraction or a thing they had to do. Like I remember listening to someone be like, I got to go babysit my kids. And I'm like, well, that's not guys I want to be around.
Come on.
Like, you know what I mean? Right? Like, these are your children. I mean, you're a father. And so I feel like, for coaching too as well, like, being a little longer in this profession, I feel like I've leveled up a little bit coaches, but more importantly, I think I've leveled up my friendships.
So good.
And that's matter. But it's, God first, right? And you're never going to surpass that.
Yeah. And you hit something. If Tori was here right now, and just being frank and honest, I remember he said, you and your wife should not practice together. You should not do X, Y, and Z together. You got to do this, this, and this. I hear you, and then I hear other people. I've interviewed people who have been married and in practice and saw the challenges. And I've also interviewed people who have been married and have succeeded. And that's what we did early, so we could start understanding, hey, what could be some of the hang-ups in our marriage as we practice together and are professional and love people well with our expertise in chiropractic. So you just got to be forefront with the different details and recognize that family is important. I'm happy we're hitting this because you can build up a kingdom in chiropractic and you can be crumbling on the inside, right? You can have great success, right? And at the end of the day, lay your head on a pillow and it feel meaningless and purposeless and not have anyone to share it with. So if you're looking for both, I think there's wisdom in going slow, methodical, focused, and building step by step. And so, again, having a coach helps you do that daily, as long as you're in for the grind. If you can grind it out, you'll be fine. If somebody came up to you right now and they were, let's say, in 12th quarter, it was a female, male, like, husband, wife, whatever, and they said to you, hey, Dr. JaGerran, what do you think we should practice together? What would you say to them? I'm going to say yes, if... a couple things. I think it's important to have some commitments already on that table. Me and Jess got married in school, right? So we committed to each other early, even with the student debt. From a business standpoint, make this make sense, guys, right? So $300,000 probably plus on each side in student debt. Your family's not rooting for that. They're not like, yeah, you got it. They see the love there, but financially that's a lot. But what I would say is, you want to make a commitment early. And I would say even before you make that commitment, you need to go through a process of figuring out, is this really what I want to do, right? And so we did premarital counseling. That was important. Got our values set, understood who we were, unpacked some details in our past, unpacked what we wanted in the present, what we're shooting for in the future. Launched the business together, heard the consultants say, don't do it. And I'm a big fan of not proving others wrong. I just know what I want as a desire of my heart. And so I'm going to say, hey, what are the challenges? Let's work on those. Let's be proactive. just being proactive. And I think a lot of people, if you're a student that wants a marriage and you also have a chiropractor working with you, you gotta have some details on the table that you can iron out. And you also need to be around other people that are doing it as well.
That's right.
You gotta get a village. Right.
I got two last questions for you real quick as we wrap this up. Is one quick answer is like kind of a quick fire question.
Okay.
Who's your favorite author?
John Maxwell.
John Maxwell. Any one of his books particularly that you like the most, or? I know they're all really good, but.
You win and you learn.
Yep.
You never lose. You win and you learn, you never lose. I like that one.
Mine is 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. So I was wondering if we were going to match there, but that's great.
That was a good one too. I like that one too.
And my last question is if you could go back to 2019 when you were walking across this stage, getting handed your diploma, and you graduated Life University, and the new version, 2024 version of Dr. JaGerran was on the other side, and he could give that kid advice as he's walking across the stage, what advice would he give him to do differently today?
Stay bold. And trust the process, but act, like do something now, do something today. And it's hard for me to say that because I've always felt like that in my journey, but at the same time, be bolder, faster, quicker, don't delay. Do not delay. If you know what you want, trust the process and add pieces around you in order to move towards that that goal that you have. Goals are easy. If you know what you want, it's a goal, then you just take a step every day and you will reach it at some point in time. So I wish I would have did that a little bit earlier, but I also can appreciate, the journey. The journey is beautiful.
Well, dude, I remember listening to you speak at Life University, man, and when you were a student, and I'm really proud of you. You're doing great things for the profession, and the profession's great to have you in it, man. So thank you for doing that. If people want to reach out to you, what's a good place for them to connect? Is it Instagram, your website, your practice? What's a good place?
All three, right? I'm very, people that know me, I'm pretty personable. Just stop by if you want to. I'll take 2 minutes out of my time to say hello, what's going on.
And what's the name of your practice?
Well, Mustard Seed Chiropractic. You can also reach out to me at Mustard Seed Chiro via Instagram, and Dr. JaGerran at mustardseedchiro.com is my email. JaGerran is JaGerran, the only one in the world, I promise.
And we'll have this in all the show notes, of course. And once again, thank you so much, Dr. JaGerran, for being here with Thriving Chiros. And we hope you guys have a great day.